What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time, but I am so excited to be back for 327. My favorite build of all time just got a buff of all time. We just finished reading the patch notes, so this is going to be a quick review, but I'm going to show you what I'm playing for this league start and why I believe it could be the best build in the entire league. Let's go. Now, first, let me say this. It is possible that I don't necessarily understand fully how one of the new gems works, and this is not quite as strong as I'm presenting, but I have no reason to believe that. The skill that this is focused around is called Ice Shot of Penetration. It's a build that I've played probably 10 times in various private leagues and league starts, and it's truly one of my favorite builds ever. It is absolutely S-tier clear that can stand up with the best of them, and I believe one of the best Blight and Legion farmers that currently exists. You can start it on a budget, and you can push mirrors into this build, and it scales well the entire way. So before I tell you why it's broken now, let me explain briefly how it works. Ice Shot of Penetration fires a single projectile. The gem says that modifiers to additional projectiles do not apply to this skill. However, you can use it in combination with the Fury Valve, which allows it to take any additional projectiles that you get from the tree or from gems and apply it to the splits that happen when you strike a target. Now, because Ice Shot of Penetration just fires that one arrow, we put it on a mine. That mine will auto-target that single projectile, it will hit its first target, and it will split to as many nearby enemies as it can, depending on how many arrows you have. All of those projectiles, when they strike other enemies or walls, will create cones. Each arrow creates two perpendicular cones out the sides of the target, and all of those cones can theoretically overlap on a single target. Let's say you have a rare at the center of a pack. Every single arrow that strikes an enemy around it is going to do those perpendicular AoEs, and most of them are going to overlap. However, you can also get those projectiles to return and overlap on something like a tornado. So if there's no other enemies or walls around, you still can get some of those extra overlaps. So why is it broken? Let's jump into the patch notes. Here we have a new skill gem that has been added called Wall of Force. The way that Wall of Force works is it creates a wall that allies and enemies can pass through, but allied projectiles that can chain, so anything that is theoretically able to chain, so not Winter Orb, things like that are ground targeted, will collide with the wall, chaining off of it to nearby targets. Now, the chaining is not the interesting part. The collision is the interesting part. Every time an Ice Shot of Penetration arrow collides with something, it creates the AoE overlaps. In theory, if you put walls on each side of a boss and you drop the mines directly on top of the boss, it will fire the projectiles out and they will all hit the walls. All of those AoEs can overlap. This build was already capable of all content in the game and was an unbelievable mapper on a very, very tight league start budget. But now it has the capability of probably one-shotting all content in the game. I'm estimating anywhere from 5 to 20x DPS from this compared to what we've had in the past, as long as those walls are up. Now, there's a few things that we don't know about the walls. Are they duration-based or are they hit-based? As in, is there a certain number of times you can strike the wall before they go away? Based on the clip that we saw, it looked like there was maybe somewhere between 10 and 25 collisions with Kinetic Blast before the wall disappeared. You can also tell from the video and from the patch notes that the wall will have a possibility of getting multiple walls. So it says here, projectiles which collide with a wall of force cannot collide with any further walls of force. That's totally fine. So we're going to be able to put down multiple walls, maybe up to 3 walls, and completely put a triangle around a boss, drop all the mines on them, and then have all of the AoEs go off when they hit those walls. Now, this is not going to be sustainable damage, so you're going to have to get enough from each hit where the enemies actually die. But because of this buff to single target, I really believe that this will be one of the best builds in the entire game. So the Wall of Force was a huge buff, but we were not done yet. The next thing we have is a new Runegraft, which is replacing the Runegraft of Recompense. We now have a Runegraft of Refraction, so we no longer have access to that recover mana cost when projectiles end and have unspent chains. It now instead grants fire at most 1 projectile and skills chain 1 time and projectiles fork. The way that Ice Shot of Penetration is worded is that modifiers to number of projectiles do not apply to this skill, which is the reason that Fury Valve's language, skills fire additional projectiles, still works. Modifiers to number of projectiles instead apply to the number of targets projectiles split towards. So to me, this says projectiles fire at most 1 projectile will have no effect on the Ice Shot skill when combined with the Fury Valve. So that means we are getting, for the cost of 1 mastery and whatever this Runegraft costs, plus 1 chain and fork. Now, not only is that going to be unbelievable clear that we've maybe never experienced before in Path of Exile, and I know I'm using big language, but I don't normally do this in my videos because I really, truly believe that this was already an amazing build, and even Spicy Sushi called it out as one of his honorable mentions on his build list from last league. It is a very, very strong build. With these 2 changes, we are looking at potentially clear that is one-shotting legions and just effortlessly taking down content with very, very minimal gear. So anyway, the additional fork is going to create additional projectiles that can also return, collide with walls, collide with other enemies, and actually give us even more of a boost to single target. Now, another disclaimer, I don't know that this is going to work because grants fire at most 1 projectile could not necessarily work with this skill. I just have good reason to believe that it will. So huge disclaimers. Both of these things could have downsides that they could change. Who knows what they're going to do in the next week. But what I know right now is that without either of these things, Ice Shot of Penetration is an A-tier league starter, particularly if you want to be doing map content. And with these changes, it is S+. I already have a max roll guide if you want to check it out. I'll include that in the description. It's been out for a few leagues and I've been keeping it up to date, and it will be getting updated for the new changes that we see here. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Sorry about the lack of content for the last month or so, but after that 23-day subathon, I took a week off and I really burnt out. I just didn't really have time to make YouTube content, but I appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching. Click that subscribe button, click the notification bell, do all that fun YouTube stuff. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in a video very, very soon. So thank you for watching. And as always, take care.